Oh, it's thinking very hard, and we're live.
Hi, welcome to StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as Janitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It. And this is episode 376. And we are going to be chatting about whips. But I just heard as we were kind of chatting before we got started that you went on a vacation. Was it a staycation or just a Minnesota? Did you go to the Great Minnesota Get Together?
No, we kind of zipped alongside of it, went to Duluth for a few days.
Duluth.
Yeah. Stayed right in Canal Park. So it was fun. Didn't do much driving or anything, just stayed kind of central to the things down there. And I think our vacation was mostly about food. Like where are we gonna eat? But
did you camp? Did you stay in a hotel?
Hotel, Airbnb.
Got it. Fun.
Yep. Yeah,
it was time away.
Just time away, exactly. And completely forgetting about, work for that amount of time was really nice.
Yeah. I was sharing when you said that I've taken Fridays off recently, and that's been nice. I could get used to a 3-day weekend.
Right? You have at least one day that's just about you, and then the rest of them can be like, oh yeah, I have a million things to do for the family and the house, but just one day that was for you.
Yeah.
I could get used to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Friday was just kind of most of the time I ended up doing, like you were saying, stuff that we needed to get done, errands I needed to get done personally or for ZKN or whatever, right? But just so that the weekends didn't feel so jam-packed full of all of that stuff, it just kind of got to be spread throughout. We went to the Red Cow one of the Fridays, right, during a non-weekend day over lunch. So, it was great. I had a turkey burger with pistachios and it was a green sauce. What was the sauce? I feel like it was basil sauce. It was delicious.
For those not around Rochester, it's a brand new restaurant that we have here, and we have a plethora of color and animal name restaurants.
Yeah.
So
there's Purple Goat, there's Red Cow, there's Blue Duck. Red Cow is actually out of the Twin Cities. So yeah, I had some people that were incredulous. I had a happy hour this week, and I was sharing that we had gone to the Red Cow, and they were like, that just opened. Like, you couldn't have gone to it 2 weeks ago. And I was like, I think like the grand opening is like a marketing thing, right? It's like, so you have the people that are in the neighborhood that see that you're open that come in, and then you have the grand opening so that people all over Rochester descend upon your establishment. So but yeah, it was an interesting mix of what looked like, either people that had heard through the grapevine that they were open, and Mayo employees from St. Mary's, and then neighborhood folks. So yes, a soft opening. Valerie put in the chat. So.
I haven't been there yet, but I have been to the other two color animal places. Yeah. So I'll have to get that in.
I was trying to think of yet another one, right? But I mean, they kind of have to be animals that you eat. Right? So I was like, well, we wouldn't want to put llama. I guess you could put sheep in there. Some color of sheep, like black sheep brewery or something like that, or what would be another one? Something with pig, right?
Or the octopus, or it could be exotic.
But those aren't farm. That's not a farm animal.
Well, they don't have to be farm animals.
Well, so far they are. So far they are. So, but yes, I wanted to say hello to Sarah and Valerie and Ingrid and Pat and Sandy out in the chat. And Claire. Did I say Claire? Yeah, I said Claire.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys. I've been drafting, just kind of in a general news sense, I have been drafting an announcement that's going to go out on the Zombie Apocalypse webpage very soon. But I might as well preview it here. We have picked our theme for next year, and we have our keynote speaker already picked out. So that's so exciting. Our I still need to kind of okay this with Megan, but I think sky's the limit is a good theme. Right? Sky's
Yep.
the limit. And then we have our 2 teams already designated. We have Up and Away, or Balloon, Team Balloon, and we have Let's Go Fly a Kite. Kite. So they're both sky related. So we have a sky theme, and yeah, that's pretty cool. And then for those who hadn't heard, I did announce this on Discord. We have Vincent Williams Jr., who's going to be our keynote speaker. So very exciting.
Yeah.
Talking about inspiration.
Yes, and multi-crafty, right? So he does crochet, he does knit. And yeah, I've heard so many great things after already kind of being like, oh, I'm so impressed with him about his speaking. So super excited to have him as our keynote speaker.
Yes, very excited. So those are 2 fun announcements. So we have a theme and our keynote, and that's leading right up into September signups. So exciting times.
Yes, yeah. And I'm going to be adding, so I've been adding the new events out in Discord and on our events calendar for ZKN as well. But wanted to make sure that, and also going to put the signups so that people can, add it to their calendar if they want, to make sure that they're checking their inbox for the ZK signups. But on September 10th, we're going to be chatting with Natalie of Detroit Knots. Super excited. She is a Tunisian crocheter. She crochets as well, is a designer, and I just love the joy that she has out on Instagram of all of her projects, her crafty projects. So super excited about that. That will be our September speaker. And then in October, there's a new book called Wild and Woolly Knitted Animals by Sarah Elizabeth Kellner. And a super fun story there. Again, I think you've probably, like the Bluebird of Happiness that we have both knit, that is by her. And this is kind of like a naturalist notebook of animals, which is super fun, but it was a whole family affair. So she's got an illustrator and a photographer, I believe, as a son and daughter that are involved in the creation of this book. So super excited to have her, and at the end of October, to chat about the book. So, and more coming. I've got some more that I just need to finalize the date. So lots going on in the ZK world, lots going on in the ZKN world, and couldn't be more excited about everything.
Very exciting.
All
right.
So Valerie mentioned in the chat that Natalie has her patterns on sale, 30% off today till midnight. So I think it was her birthday month, if I'm remembering correctly. So if you're enabled by her being the speaker and are interested, go out and check out her patterns. It sounds like they're 30% off. So cool. Excellent. All right. Are we ready for some whips?
I think we're ready for some whips. So while I was on vacation, I brought 3 projects with me. So, for 2 days. So why not?
Enough yarn that would last you a month in case you got stranded in the wilderness of upper Minnesota.
Exactly. So I finished the back of that Marley. So this is the back, just plain stockinette, some shaping, really interesting construction going on around the neckline. But I'll know more when I get the front done and have it all sewn up. But right now I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was going to work that way. It was a little surprised. And then also cast on the front. So I'm finally into the interesting bits. So that'll be exciting. I think I'm just a few repeats away from being in the full pattern, like as in like I only had this much.
Growing now across the ribbing. Yeah. Super pretty. How are you enjoying working with the non-superwash?
I really like it. This non-superwash from Leading Men is really nice. I haven't had any issues. It feels great. And again, I'll wash and block and let you know, probably wash and block before I sew these up. So The other, I guess, anecdote is that I brought all of this, but I only brought the ribbing size needles.
Wah, wah.
So I didn't get to work on this lovely thing until yesterday.
Got it.
Because I got to here and went, oh no, I don't have the right needle. Now I could have gone to Yarn Harbor, but I had other projects. So we just kind of set this one down and moved on. But that's my pink Marley. And then I also brought my cornucopia socks from Linz and Nosh.
Love it.
So I got another baby going. I decided to not go with, I don't know. It's such a really long repeat. Yeah, it's such a really long repeat. And then I got to the point where I was like, well, I could either get rid of one color altogether, or I could start with the toe being the color versus the purple, because it's mostly purple. But anyway, so I'm like, I'm okay with them being completely different. So there they are.
A little bit of a stagger start on the one, right?
It is.
When you hold your feet together, you can just go, whoop.
Yeah, it's just 2 colors off. So yeah, you're right. But anyway,
that would be a lot to, I understand though, that would be a lot to pull out to try to get it to the same place. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, by the time I got to where I wanted to end on this cuff, it was already some needles. Sorry, it was already the beginning of.
But very symmetrical. Both of them will be symmetrical as a one piece of craft work, right? Because you'll start and end on the same in the same sequence, just like on the other one.
Yep. Yeah. I think I'm okay with it. That, like a really long repeat, didn't want to have to like get, go through a bunch of this and then have to worry about how much yarn I had left or something.
That one is the Targi base, right? Isn't the Targi sock just so much fun?
It is. And these are like size 2 needles, right? So it's a little beefier. So I went up a needle size. So yeah, really enjoying it. And then my Windover got some love. So just, probably from here to here since the last time I held it up, talking about how much I love the yarn and the project together. So the repeats are getting, or the rows are getting longer. So
how many distinct sections are there? I mean, I don't think that gives too much away, but it looks like there's a stockinette section, and then there's the lace section and some eyelets, and then adding that garter row.
Yeah, so the start of the second repeat is after this eyelet.
Okay.
So it starts with that stockinette, and you only get a baby bit of it right in the start. So it's from here on, it's just going to be the repeat of what you see already.
Pretty.
Yep. It's very pretty. And then there's a border. So beyond that, there's even more patterning. It's just in the border. And then I'm just trying to get to my last project here. I have another Farmer's Daughters project. I realized on the way here though that I do have more, like my long summer cardigan, I like got to the underarm, and so now I'm just straight knitting there to the knees, right, for head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So I also have the auntie cowl.
So pretty.
Yeah, and this one was awesome. Unfortunately, I must have lost the stitch marker at some point, and I noticed that I jogged over the pattern so that it wasn't starting in the same place as it was originally. So I had to rip back a lot and restart. But it wasn't going to be noticeable in the final object, but it was annoying me. So
yeah, I was going to say, with it starting in a different place on the tube, I guess, unless the motif was really noticeable that it was off, I would be like, okay, that's going to be on the inside of my neck most of the time.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and it wasn't super noticeable, but this is the jog area,
Mm.
and you can kind of see it right there in the flower, the
Okay.
but I didn't want it. So then when I jogged, I think it moved over here or here, behind, but
Mhm.
not like just, I don't know where my brain was, but not just like a few stitches. It was like a good 2 inches off. So I'm like, well,
Yeah.
why is the jog here? It's like, I don't know. It was bugging me.
Yeah, no, and you're the person that it's for, right? Ultimately, right? So if it's bothering you, definitely rip it out and redo it, right?
Yeah. And it really was just, a couple sections of this really fun, potato chippy work. So it was fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's such lovely rambouillet and the spin cycle yarn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. And then I forgot to bring the long summer cardigan, but it is
You're missing head. Need to cast on a hat stat.
Well, so I have a mucil burl, but I chose not to bring it because it'll get done this weekend. It's so close to being done. It'll be in FOs before you know it.
Got it. Got it.
So,
Was that another vacation knit or?
no, I didn't bring it because like I said, I'm real close. Like I'd finish it. And I am being strategic. And I'm
I
going to finish it
see. I
in September.
see. Okay. Okay. I get it. September isn't here yet. You can't finish the KAL item before it starts because whips are allowed.
See?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I've been, go ahead.
no, that's it. Just, being sneaky and
Mhm.
strategic about my head project.
Yeah. Yeah. I am kind of continuing my craziness of non-monogamous knitting, and have kind of allowed myself to like, okay, as long as it fits into those categories, I'm going to have multiple projects going on. So I do have a recent mucil burrow that I cast on. It is a leftover of this blue, and then I've got the zombie barbecue from Lorna's Laces that I'm mixing in. So these were both parts of a different hat, and are now going to be in a hat together. All of my mucil burrows are unique, right? Like none of them are the same two colors, so none of them are going to be the same. But this got cast on. We went this weekend to a mountain biking race in Shakopee, which is a part of the Twin Cities, but kind of out there. And so we drove there and back on Saturday for the middle schoolers, and we drove there and back on Sunday for the high schooler, for Ellie. And rather than staying because Ellie was working on Saturday. And also, it was just, it was a lot of driving. But while I was there, this was the project that I was carrying around. In fact, I had a plastic bag in there in case because it was rainy this weekend, in case it started raining. So I could emergency put my work in progress I would get wet, but the knitting would stay dry. So that's head. Shoulders, I cast on. So I finished up a lot of my works in progress that were sweaters. So I finished my Penelope, which you'll see in our upcoming FO. And I also finished the hood on my no sweatshirt. So then I cast on my stripes with the Northern Bee Moraine Sport. And I think I've got to, again, very kind of symmetrical. Like I started with the gray. And I'm doing the more cinched collars. So you pick up here and you do the ribbing up. But I've gotten to the underarm part where she says that you should, where you can go into the ribbing, but I need to make sure that that's long enough on my torso. So really enjoying working with the moraine. I would say there is a little bit of veg matter in there. And when my hand can feel it, we were talking about this on the last Wednesday, but when my hand feels it, I'm like, okay, well, my body will feel it as well. And so I kind of pick it out, even though I feel like it's part of the structural integrity. You see this little strand here. This is helping me remember that this is the back. But I was good. I got to a point where I was like, oh, I'm feeling really like there's a lot of ends, and there are a lot of ends when you have this number of colors. But I wove in my gosh, you can't even really see it on the screen, but I wove in my ends. See, there's a little end that you can see as I went, and now I've got a few more down here that after I tried it on and saw that it was going to be wide enough, I was like, okay, I feel pretty secure in weaving in my ends. But she's got a jogless stripe that's a little bit different than in the past. I've read, I guess I could say this for tips and tricks, but I've read that to avoid jogs, you kind of slip that first or the second stitch after you start a new color at the beginning. The second row, not the second stitch, you slip the first stitch of the second row to kind of pull it up even. And she has you do kind of like a short row. You dip down and pick up the initial stitch. And I think it gives you a really nice, clean jogless join there. I mean, you can kind of see it. But some of that may be that I've also woven in ends, I guess. I don't know. I really like it. I've not had that before in a pattern where she told you how to do it, but I'm going to have to try this on and figure out. I have two colors that I'm thinking about using for the collar. So this is just 10 of them, and I have 12. So I can have the collar and cuffs and the bottom ribbing the same color, and I haven't decided which one I want it to be. So any weighing in? I guess maybe it works here too.
I don't know. I mean, I think that the non-blue looks more fall like.
Okay. Yeah, this is bourbon and this is northern bee blue.
Okay.
For anybody at home. But yeah, it probably has the greatest contrast with if I'm, I know for sure it's going to be against this gray here. If I need to make it longer, it will be against a different color down here, right? Possibly the darker blue or the pink. But yeah, it's been great. Again, kind of using the non-merino base. It has merino in it, but it's also got, here, I'll hold it up, merino Corriedale. And she's got a sport, she's got a worsted, and she's got a fingering. So yeah, really enjoying that. Stripes and the jogless join there. So there's head, shoulders, knees. I am going to do you remember when I went a little bonkers and made all of those little square Tunisian crochet squares? And then I put a border around them, and now they're all just sitting with their borders. And I believe I even wove the ends in on all of the borders. And they're just sitting in their component kind of patchwork quilt style blocks. And I just need to seam. So I'm going to use this KAL to motivate me to actually seam those up and make a blanket. They're just sitting in a little cube, like, make me into a blanket someday. I want to be a real blanket. So I'm going to use this KAL. That's going to be my knees to finish up my Tunisian crochet kind of patchwork quilt scrap blanket. And then I didn't get it on the needles, but I do have my toes. Funny that we both have Woolens and Nosh. This is Summer by the Lake, and it's probably going to be askew. If my hands start making something different, but it's been a while since I've made askew. So really enjoying kind of the greens and reds and blues in this in the self-striping. So Woolens and Nosh, Summer by the Lake, casting it on just in time for fall.
I might actually be able to make a skew in the beefier base, but
yeah.
that would fit. But I don't know. I don't have the skew memorized, so I'd rather do vanilla.
Yeah. Yep. So there's my toes. I've got head, shoulders, knees. I really want to finish that knees up, that blanket so badly. It's been nice to have those blocks to, like, when I teach the Tunisian crochet and the entrelac Tunisian crochet as examples. But ultimately it would be really nice to have them in a blanket and have that cozy something here, right? For when the days start getting colder and shorter. So
yeah, shorter. Don't remind me. I still enjoy getting up and it being light out.
yes. Yeah, I'm more on the opposite end, but yeah, it's been 9 o'clock at night. You're like, okay, it's no longer light out at 9 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy it on both sides, but I think it's a lot harder to get up in the morning when it's dark when you get up.
See, for me, it's always hard to get up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So yep. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. And feels a little odd to have this number of whips going, but I'm leaning into it.
Well, you already had the blanket going, technically.
And the musil burrows were just kind of this constant, like, background. Yep.
Right.
And the sweater.
And then the socks you haven't even cast on yet. So,
they're needle adjacent.
they're needle adjacent. Like, I'm just like this. I mean, it feels unusual, but I don't know how unusual it is yet. Cast on that sock and start seaming that blanket, and then we'll talk.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no, somebody in a chat with me was saying something about, well, and you need to cast on. And I was like, your polygamy crafting propaganda is not, but I can't even call myself monogamous anymore. Right. Like, I'm just, it's fine. If it's making me happy, that's what's important. Right. And none of this stuff has to get done. None of this has to be like heads down, get her done. So.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to remind myself of that as well, right? I don't have to do any of this. Like, this is my hobby.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, but it can sit for a night. It doesn't have to get worked on. I was having, this is just a tangent, but sort of on topic. I have had a lot of stickers that I didn't know what to do with, but they were really nice stickers. And I have these books at work that I use for work. They're grid paper notebooks that are like the A5. They're the smaller. And I really like them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make one of these into a knitting one. I buy them myself. They're not something the work provides. So I started slapping some of those lesser used stickers from different companies or whatnot. I have one from Farmers Daughters Fibers, 716 Knit. Just putting them on there as a place to keep them, as well as, like, then I made myself a head, shoulders, knees, and toes page. And then I because it's grid graph paper, I just made out little like check mark type things so that, like, oh, when I get a full section of this done, I can do a little checky mark. And so progress can be shown. But it doesn't have to be like, I don't know, just something that I did recently.
That makes you happy.
Organize and get it to a point where, like, now that it's documented, I don't feel as much pressure. It doesn't feel as overwhelming, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. I get that. I'm a list maker. I constantly have, otherwise I lose track. Well, you know that. I'm like, your ZK lists are crazy, Megan. But yeah, I get it. It definitely helps me with the, like, am I forgetting something? So yeah. Yep.
And I inevitably am forgetting something, like my long summer cardigan today, but you'll see it eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, hope to see some people on the chat tonight, and we have an extended weekend hangout for this weekend. Next weekend, we've got Natalie, which is going to be September 10th already. Yeah, just super excited about everything that we've got going on. The KEL as well as ZK and ZKN. So happy that you joined us.
Bye.
Bye, Ufta.